This session is Children's Ministry in a New Wineskin, and you can follow in your seminar outline if you'd like. This is how to reorganize your delivery system for new growth. And here's what I think about children's ministry and this curriculum. If you take this curriculum and you just try to do it like ordinary curriculum, it doesn't work. You really need to have a high value to your children's ministry to make this work. And if you're looking to create that, this will help you. But it's also creating an entirely different delivery system. It's how it fits together as opposed to the traditional model of children's ministry. The Sunday school superintendent and the teachers. Let's make a contrast, and let me point out some of the differences, okay? In the other model, it was oftentimes one teacher does it all. In this model, you have many specialized roles. You have the director. Well, that might be similar to what the Sunday school superintendent did. But you also have this other person who's essentially important, and if you do not have this person, I strongly suggest don't do this curriculum. Run away, run away, run away. It's a supply coordinator, because this is extremely easy to do if you've got a supply coordinator that's good. People love it because they show up, it's all ready for them, and they have high impact experience with their kids. Supply coordinator is a specialized person that likes to gather those supplies. And it's good when you have a whole team doing it because you can have a lot of fun with this one. Then you have the shepherd, and we don't call them teachers, we call them shepherds. I'll explain later why. You have, for every 5 shepherds, you have a shepherd's coach. And that's how you keep your shepherds encouraged and trained. We find that the shepherd's coach is really wise when they help the shepherds find lead shepherds who are really good at it and have done it many years, and they help mentor the group. That's how some of the training happens. Puppeteer is a specialized role. Substitute coordinator. Substitute coordinator. One person, or maybe one person taking that role who's also doing something else, but it's best if one person does it. Wow, does it make life easier. So you see how we've specialized people according to their gifts? That's a shift. The next shift is this. We move from recruiting teachers to recruiting shepherds, and here's the way that works. When you're in the hall and it's recruiting season, and by the way, the proper word I think is enlisting season, so I'm not just recruiting, I'm enlisting people into, something powerful that God's going to do. We, in our system, don't call them volunteers, we call them ministry partners. That better describes who they are. But in inviting someone to join our ministry, I will oftentimes hear someone say, well, I really can't, I'm not a teacher. And I say, fantastic, I'm not looking for a teacher. I'm looking for a shepherd. You know what the difference is? A shepherd, your main focus is enjoying kids and having a relationship with them. We will actually script out for you the right kinds of questions to say. It's going to help you have dynamic conversations, and then you're going to help them discover God's truth right there from the Bible. We'll do the teaching for you. In the large group, you help them apply it. Wow. And anyway, that's a shift from the self-contained classroom that really lends itself to being a teacher and, I'm sorry, sometimes just talking at the kids. Or being a teacher that one person is really, really good and creative and everyone else says, boy, I can never do that. Okay? Another shift is this. An old model relies on the teacher's creativity. This model says, let us provide the creativity. We'll put it into the lessons. Here's our motto. Leave no bored child behind. I think it'd be a sin to bore a child with the Word of God. And in 9 years of doing this curriculum, I'm honest in saying I've never seen a child bored. How do you get bored when we ask you to do the stuff you used to get in trouble for? Here's a pop can, stand on it. Or, okay, here's in your group, take this roll of toilet paper, and let's take one person and let's wrap them up like Lazarus. All right? so you don't get bored. Or in large group, when the kids come together and it's time to tell about how Jesus walked on the water, kids are coming out of the audience, suddenly they are in the boat, and there's water sprayed into the group, and all the kids are the waves out there, and they're making the sound. Everyone's involved. So we'll give you the creativity instead of just trying to create it in one self-contained classroom. Another shift is this, the Sunday school openings. What was the purpose of the Sunday school openings? To wait till everyone arrived there. Did it capture your attention? No, no. But it did recognize people, birthdays, we had some other, and maybe you might have a devotion, but it may not even tie in to the lesson they're learning that day, all the kids. However, this model says large group presentations. And we suggest that the music is happening as the kids are walking into the room. It grabs them right away, and that is exciting. We also believe that you ought to cover your mission moment here. And they do bring their offerings. You ought to recognize guests and make that a big deal about the kid who brings the guest. And maybe you'll see why that works so powerfully. We average in this church 22 new guests a weekend. So we make a big deal about it. And from a kid's point of view, guess what that large group presentation is? In the eyes of a 4-year-old or 3-year-old or 2-year-old, that's Broadway. That is the big time. And they want to come back and see that Bible event again. So that's the shift. Another shift is the workbook leaflets. And we're going to move from them to using the Bible. And here is a typical tub. The shepherd is given a tub that fits into a tub cart and hidden off in the area. And the shepherd can keep anything in here he or she wants, but there are some basic supplies that everyone has that you use from week to week, perhaps. But on top of the tub are the supplies for that Sunday. Tomorrow, we're using paper clips because you're going to make a paperclip chain as you actually do a review on this entire unit that we've been studying, and as well as the name of your group, the name of the shepherd, and the question page the shepherd will be using for the contest that they're going to do, remembering the Bible event. So, here's the shift. You don't have a leaflet for the kids, but you have a kit that you make for the shepherd. And you need something every week to keep it going. Another shift, scope and sequence. In a traditionally aligned curriculum, the kids, as much as possible, are all going to be on the same lesson, are they not? So, oftentimes you're going to have first grade and sixth grade the same. Or sometimes, maybe a little bit of a change, but, kindergarten. Now, the problem with that, it limits your scope and sequence. It can never get much more complex than what can be handled by an early childhood. And if your focus is to give them biblical literacy, and our kids need to know the Bible, then let's go after that.
By age 13, most kids have already formed their spiritual identity. Ask yourself, what do we want to teach kids in our children's ministry during the crucial years from age 2 until they are out of 6th grade? The Kids Count curriculum is designed to give kids biblical literacy and a Jesus-centered worldview. We want children to know the Bible and how God's story fits into their story. We want kids to see their world through God's values. Each age group will spend half the year in the Old Testament and half the year in the New Testament. Everyone in the age grouping uses the same material. The curriculum can then be recycled after children have completed their years in that age group. 2 and 3-year-olds follow a 2-year cycle of curriculum. Lessons cover basic Bible events and will usually reinforce the same Bible event for 2 weeks in a row. 4 and 5-year-olds are also grouped together. Each year, they go through the entire Bible, covering the better-known events. Grades 1 through 4 are grouped together and move through a 4-year cycle of curriculum. In 4 years, children will have experienced the Old Testament, all 4 Gospels, and the book of Acts. What about 5th and 6th grades? Having completed a survey of the Bible, they now encounter the Bible in topical fashion. These are life-related topics that help them prepare for their teenage years. And Kids Count. Learning activities are engaging and relevant, and kids are excited to discover the truths of the Bible.
Next thing, what's the difference? What was Sunday school designed for? Who was the target? It was targeted to the children of the church, was it not? I think that target's off. Who are we responsible for? We're responsible for kids that don't know Jesus. Who's the best people to bring those kids to Jesus? Our kids. So let's create a situation for them that they love to bring their kids. So this is for bringing kids that don't know Jesus, that are not churched. Old shift, here's good behavior in church. Sit there and be quiet. Largely a passive experience. From a 4-year-old's point of view, what does it mean to go to church? If I really did a good job in church today, I sat still, colored, didn't bother anyone. Sometimes we wonder why we can't get our people to do anything, by the time they grow up. Are we discipling them to do anything? So this shift is kids need to be involved. And they need to be involved in their learning. 2 weeks ago when we had a seminar here, the large group presenter was telling the story of how the children of Israel were marching through the hills, getting ready for battle. And as they were telling the Bible event, of course the kids who were the children of Israel started going, boof, 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 boof. The whole place was rocking. And the people who were watching this said, oh no, he's lost control. But as soon as the story got to the point where, and then they stopped, and look what happened to the enemy. All the kids stopped. So they can be active and involved when they know the expectation of how it fits together. Or the one Bible event in which to teach priest. What does it mean to be a priest? And you have one child in your small group standing on a chair here and another child here. Of course, you make sure they don't fall off, but they've got to hand a ball across, but they can't reach. How do they do that? Well, you need a priest who is a bridge builder, a go-between, who handles it from here to here, just like our priest stands between us and God and handles the relationship across and makes the bridge. So kids need to be involved. Old model. Here's the way questions were done. I'm going to ask you a question, you tell me the right answer. Sometimes even worse than that, all the questions are yes and no. And this model says, no, let's ask the question, well, how does that apply to you? What do you think God wants you to do? And it takes time to listen. Why? Because they're in a small group. The old model says, let's buy curriculum every year. Now, I've got to guess as to how many booklets, student booklets I have, because I have a different number every Sunday, and it's very costly, and I have stuff on my shelf from last time, and what am I doing with all this stuff? And it even recycles every couple years, but I can't change the dates on it, so I don't know how to do that. And as a children's pastor, I tell you, I got really frustrated with that one. Because I did realize that you just kind of, they change the covers on them sometimes. And so here's what we said is, let's make it completely recyclable. Let's let it be reproduced by the church, however many copies you want, for however many shepherds you need. And then we'll give you 22 lessons between Advent and Easter for the life of Jesus. That's the most Sundays you'll ever have, because Easter kind of changes. You have to take lessons out. You won't use them all. That's okay. You'll have to take lessons out between Easter and June 1, but that's okay. We'll give you more than you need. On certain years, you'll need them. And guess what? 4 years later, in grades 1 through 4, you'll use the same lesson again. But you might get better at it. You'll keep some of the same supplies. Same thing with 5th and 6th. Run it through, develop your own. Edit it yourself. Why do you need to call it Kingdom Quest? You don't. If you've got your own name, make your own name. Use your own creativity. And that's what you're doing anyway, isn't it? It's just that we're giving you a good start, that here's something to start with. From old wineskins to new wineskins. It's more than just a new way of thinking, it's a new way of doing ministry. So let's break out into groups that you can look at this through the perspective of the different ministry roles. There will be one group for administrators and supply coordinators, another for shepherds, another for large group presenters, and another one for puppeteers. You'll have a chance to see samples of the training DVDs we offer called Skill Builders. Also, you have a chance to discuss with one another and see what does the new wineskin look like in your place.